the stats around women working with the menopause were really sobering. So, 1 in 10 women quitting their jobs as a result of the menopause. And if you look at those sort of statistics, we're losing a massive chunk of society within the workplace. Yeah. And as a result of that, you're getting less diversity again, and that's going to have a knock-on effect, not only on that individual, but on the business that they work with and on the economy as a whole. The UK economy loses something like £1.8 billion a year due to sick days as a result of menopause and perimenopause.
Right.
So I'd say to anyone, if anyone thinks this isn't a problem for them, anyone that's running a business, managing a business, it really is. And it's probably one of the biggest kind of issues that I think needs to be addressed. We were seeing some more grievances come to light more from women of perimenopausal age, feeling like they weren't being supported enough in the workplace, or people were laughing at their symptoms, and things like that, and them not being able to cope with their work as they used to be able to do, and just feeling like they didn't know how to carry on, which is such a shame. I mean, aside from the fact that, no longer can anyone say by 50, that's the end of your career. We're all living longer. And really, women at that age, in a way, have got more to give than at any other age, because most women, if they had children, they might be getting older now, so they want to start putting more back into their career. It's almost the opposite. And yet it feels like it's that group that are kind of, still this sort of vibe of, oh, you're that old now, it doesn't really matter. And, like I say, we're all living older, and that's kind of like a key area of work. And also those people are bringing all their life experience into that role as well at that age. We put together a survey for women working and around how their symptoms affected their work and how well or not well their employer dealt with those symptoms. And within a week, we got 3,000 responses. Now, I don't know anything about data gathering, but I've been told that's really good, especially for a business that doesn't do this as their day job. But to me, that just shows how women wanted to be heard and how much of an issue this was. And then really it's gone on from there. And I'm sure you'll pick out some of the stats and kind of what we're looking at as solutions.
I mean, we're saying that these stats that came from the 3,000 people that you surveyed, 98% of respondents suffered from menopausal symptoms, saying that the symptoms affected their work. Now, that's huge, isn't it?
As much as there are big organisations doing things like focusing on cold drinks, having fans, some of the physical symptoms, things like hot flushes, to be honest, the overwhelming amount of comments and statistics and personal statements that people made in our survey was all around the neurological effects. And that's kind of scary, because that means it relates to things like fatigue, memory loss, brain fog, lack of concentration. All those things are obviously going to affect how your ability to do a job, aren't they? Whatever your job is.
Of course, and lack of confidence. So you're presenting or, doing things that you would normally be doing, and all of a sudden you're standing up in front of people and you've got that feeling that all of a sudden you can't do it. Like, that must be terrifying.
I know in my experience, the hot flushes are awful. It can be annoying, but you can kind of deal with them. Whereas, like you say, the lack of confidence and memory and things like that, where you start to feel like you're going mad because you suddenly forgot something that, was in your brain, and that's hard.
Another statistic that's popped up, which is 60% of your respondents wouldn't feel comfortable speaking to their employer about their symptoms or their situation, with 70% saying they didn't think the employer would take menopause seriously, which is just so sad.
A lot of the comments, again, were things like women saying, no matter how sympathetic their boss might be, there were quite a few women saying he's a man, so I feel awkward and embarrassed speaking to him, and I don't think he'll understand it, even if he maybe did understand it. So, obviously, it's easier for people to speak to someone if they know they understand or they've been through it themselves.
Yeah.